everyone. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. What can I say? I'm juggling a bunch of things at the same time. I'm even recording this during work hours. Shh. But hey, I wanted to be included in this. It's a great topic. So let's get right into this.
Friday night, we're rocking the races. Come and see familiar faces. Uncle Meat, Rob Daniels, Jon Snow. Gibby's here, it's the place to go. Grab a star of rock with Mike and the Bad Metal Band. Grab a star of rock and hold on tight as hard as you can. Keyboard's here, it's time for a party. And Chris has got the comments started. Grab a star of rock with Mike and the Bad Metal Band. Grab a star of rock and hold on tight as hard as you can. Grab a star of rock. Grab a star of rock.
Grab a Stack of Rock is here with Dr. Catherine.
Hello.
You're back with brand new hair.
I am. I got rid of the red hair. It's gone. It's gone for good.
Looks great.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, are you ready to rock tonight?
Well, I am.
Awesome. Before we get started with the list, though, I just want to do a quick unboxing. Now, I just received this in the mail after waiting several months for an opportunity to buy it at a lower price, and I finally bought the bullet and paid the full price of $15 in shipping, which was more than the CD itself. Now, I'm all for supporting Canadian bands, and I very much like the Beaches. They have a huge hit right now called Blame Brett, and they just played on Jimmy Kimmel like a month ago. And I can't buy this on Amazon, and I can't buy this at a store. It's ridiculous. I had to buy this from their official site, and I had to pay $15 in shipping for this. Like, there's something wrong in Canada when you have to pay $15 to ship this. I'm all for supporting the Beaches. I bit the bullet and bought the CD because I like the band. But why can't I buy this on Amazon? Okay, end rant. Henry says hello, and Roger thinks that he's really sexy in the new show intro. And you know what, Roger? I'm all for supporting my friends. Oh, and by the way, Dr. Catherine painted this, incidentally.
I did.
And that's essentially my view straight ahead is what I'm seeing. So tonight we are doing our top 5 music videos from when we were kids. And I'm just going to need your help here because full disclosure, I'm going to be running video clips while we are going to be commenting over the video clips. And I have 16 video files to juggle here. So bear with me. I've never done this before. We have never done this before. But we're going to have some fun. Now, just as some background, you and I, we got Much Music when it first came out in 1984, day one. And I think we got lucky because Mom wanted TSN, the sports network, I think is why. But we were lucky. And we started recording videos right away. I don't know why we had that idea, but we also had the VCR that same year. And we both were into recording videos immediately. Our very first blank videotape, music videos are the very first thing on it. And I think it might be Material Girl by Madonna might be the very first music video on the very first tape.
That was definitely one of the first ones. And I still have that tape.
Oh, no, I do.
Oh, you do?
Yes, I do.
Oh, I have the other Madonna videos.
Okay, yes, you had your own personal tape that you started later, but Old Man Down the Road by
John Fogerty.
John Fogerty's on there. I can't remember all the different video clips, but it was a mishmash. And then at some point I hijacked the videotape and it became all Iron Maiden and Kiss after that. But anyway, long story short, we have a huge history with music videos, you and I.
Mhm.
And Jex is younger. He was born in 85, so he has a different history. So this is going to be fun. I obviously know all the picks already because I had to arrange these video clips. But what say we start with you, and then we'll go you, Jex, me. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I just trying to remember. I know what the picks were. I think I know what the order is.
Okay.
Do you want me to just say what?
Well,
my
why
number
don't we
five pick is?
why don't we surprise you, and
Okay.
we'll also experiment with this new. Oops, shit! No, that's the wrong button. See, we're already off to a great start here. We're gonna start this new idea of doing video clips. So this is the file labeled K5, and you will know right away what you want us to say about this particular music video. Catherine's number 5 pick is this. Recognize that?
I do.
Yeah. So introduce this song, please, or this video clip.
Yeah. So this is the lesser known song by Billy Ocean called Loverboy. The song really has absolutely nothing to do with the video, but I loved the video because look at it. It's amazing.
Star Wars. It's Star Wars.
It's basically a recreation of the Star Wars Cantina, but much, much lower budget. And you can tell that Billy Ocean was not on set for this one. He just kind of appears every now and then singing the song, and then it cuts back to this. And
I get a
have to,
Planet of the Apes vibe from the beach.
yeah.
But really actually cool alien designs in here. And obviously this isn't the whole video. I made select 30-second clips of each song without music so that we wouldn't set off copyright strikes. And so we could comment over them. But yeah, this was one of the first videos that I remember seeing. When there's Billy right there. Clearly not in the cantina.
yeah. He just appears in the cutscenes. But it's funny because some of the aliens are obviously supposed to look like Star Wars characters. Like there was obviously a Jawa there, and there's Jawas that like appear at the end. And some of them look really bad, but the main character actually looks pretty good, and his mouth and everything fully articulates. It's really cool.
Yes.
And yeah, I just remember seeing that video as a kid and not really even remembering the song or the artist that much, but really remembering that video. But the funny thing is I recently watched the whole video from start to finish, and it's kind of like, oh, this is really strange, because the whole plot is that weird alien shows up to the bar, sees a woman he likes, and then just takes her, just like abducts her, and obviously against her will. And for some reason, I didn't remember that part of it. And I guess I
don't know if we even picked up on that part of it.
No, I don't think so. But it felt really weird watching that this time. And like the song is Loverboy, and is that the message?
I think in hindsight,
I don't know.
I'm playing devil's advocate here, but I think in hindsight, you see this video and you think this guy's the protagonist, but it actually turns out he's the antagonist. Maybe.
Yeah.
That's a great number 5 pick. Now we're going to do, again, something different. Jex is going to introduce his number 5, and then we're going to run a video clip of his number 5 that you and I are going to talk over. But first, here's Jex introducing his number 5.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person tonight. What can I say? I'm juggling a bunch of things at the same time, and I'm just very busy. The proof is in the pudding, as I'm recording this during work hours. Shh. All right, but not to worry. You're in good hands with my friends Mike, Dr. Catherine. So let's just get into it with my number 5, shall we? My number 5 is actually, this is the only one on my list that I don't have a physical copy of to show. But, lots of vinyl to come. Stay tuned. But this is from their 3rd album called Tiny Music, Songs from the Vatican Gift Shop. And my number 5 is a song called Big Bang Baby by the Stone Temple Pilots. I can remember seeing this video on Much Music as a new release. It was brand new. This is 1996. I was barely 11 years old. And I was swept in. I was just hypnotized by what I was seeing. And it's simple. There's not much to it. There's no big storyline or anything. It's just the band with like a white backdrop just playing the song. But it's the use of colors in this video, the use of colors, whether it's the band's clothing or Scott Weiland's bright like orange hair, you know, and the moves that he keeps doing. Everything is just so fascinating, and I was glued to the TV set even at that young age. I thought it was a visually beautiful video, and I still do. I watched it yesterday in preparation for this, and I'm like, man, it still works. I love that music video, and I think it's worthy of a spot on my list. Hence number 5. And we can't forget the people wearing gorilla masks. And then you have one of said people that smashes a beer bottle over the head of the other gorilla. It's just like, what is going on? And the transitions, everything. I even knew at that young age that they were going for a retro feel. I got it. Even at barely 11 years old, I got it. Because at that point, I had watched enough old movies and old TV that I understood retro. And I dig it. I dig what they were going for. So, my number 5, Big Bang Baby.
Okay, now I'll run a quick clip from Big Bang Baby. But having said that, I didn't necessarily know to include everything that he was talking about because I received those files yesterday morning. But I never particularly liked this video myself because I was not a Stone Temple Pilots fan. I do dig the bass player's slick back hair. I've always liked slick back hair. That's kind of Brady Bunch to me, and I respect that. But Peter Cavan always said that the guitarist in the lower left corner looked like he was totally cracked out.
It kind of does.
I will say Scott Weiland was a great dancer, and I'll give him that. But I was just not a Stone Temple Pilots fan, so good one on Jex. Now
I don't remember this video at all, so I don't have any comments on it.
There you go. We didn't really watch much music by 1996.
Not a whole lot, not as much.
Now, my number 5 is a video that was on one of our very first videotapes from Much Music in 84, 85, but you may not remember. There is a band member from a mega band, a metal mega band in this video, and nobody in the viewers audience will guess who it is. But this video is called Die for Love. And the band is called Lionheart. And that's Rocky Newton on bass. I always like music videos where the band was on an adventure. And as you can see here, they're breaking into this facility to rescue this woman from this madman in a wheelchair. There always has to be a madman in a wheelchair. That's a sort of a science fiction standard. So here's the band, they're coming to rescue the girl. And there's the guy that just winked is from a very, very major metal band, possibly, definitely a top 5 metal band. I'm going to see if I can get that wink back up there. Cue up the wink. If anybody in the audience can identify this band member here, there he is. If anybody in the audience can identify that band member and the mega metal band that he was in, let's see. I'll give the audience some time. But Lionheart, Die for Love. The reason I picked that because I loved the subgenre of metal bands on adventures. Queensryche, Queen of the Reich. I was balancing between those two, but ultimately it came down to this one had way cooler scenes, like the band, the guy kicking the door in, and the band actually holding actual machine guns, and the guy in the wheelchair. Queen of the Reich was more just guys kind of like sneaking around a very dark cave. So visually, Die for Love won my toss-up in metal videos of bands on adventures. Armored Saint, Can You Deliver could arguably be another one, as they seem to be searching out some kind of mystical sword at the beginning of that video. And thank you, Chris, for sharing the link on Twitter earlier today. Really appreciate that. Does childhood mean preteen? Yeah, in Catherine's case, how old were you when we got Much Music in 84?
I was 8.
8. I was 12. 11, 12, yeah. So, but as we mentioned earlier, on our earliest videotapes, there was Material Girl by Madonna. There was, I'm going to say Boys of Summer by Don Henley was on there. Old Man Down the Road, John Fogerty, videos like that. And also Bryan Adams, Run to You is on that video. And these are the videos that shaped us. We were so lucky to have much music, again, thanks to the Toronto Blue Jays and TSN. I guess we are on. Roger got it. Roger got it. Dennis Stratton from Iron Maiden, the very first Iron Maiden album. That's him winking at the camera in Lionheart, Die for Love. Good one, Roger. Holy crap. You know what he wins? He wins a free CD copy of Live After Death by Iron Maiden that I was already sending him. And Chris remembers when Much launched as well. So he was there from day one as well. That's awesome. Okay, Dr. K, you're number 4. I'm going to run it and you're going to talk about it.
Okay.
Here we go. Video file K4. There you go.
So this is a special pick for me, video from my favorite band at the time, Glass Tiger, from their best album and arguably their best song. Definitely one of their best songs ever. This is the video for the song Diamond Sun, which I believe was their first single from that album, which is their second album. This is a really special video for me because I had to pick something from Glass Tiger for sure. And they actually have quite a lot of really wonderful videos shot in incredible locations. They've got the video for I'm Still Searching, for example, is filmed at Casa Loma, which is pretty cool. But I picked this one over that one because this one is filmed in Alberta. This one is filmed in the Alberta Badlands, about an hour and a half north of the city of Calgary, where I used to live. And this is specifically in the area of the Udus and the national park that's there. So you can see those really interesting canyons and rock formations, which are called the hoodoos. And that's just kind of how the ground has eroded over time, where you have these really interesting rocks at the top of these little peaks. And I've been there a number of times in my life and got to go there. I think I went there the first time before I saw this video. So I recognized those rock formations when the video came out. And it's such a really beautiful video as well. And it has to do with, themes of Indigenous people and when Indigenous people came to this country and what those first interactions were like. And it's such a beautiful song. It's such a beautiful video. And again, I had to put this one on my list because of that personal connection of being in that place, and also, being a resident of Alberta near there for 3 years of my life as well.
And one more connection, we're very aware of the Indigenous presence where I am sitting right now, because right over there, I'm pointing at your cottage where, I don't know, 20 years ago, they found artifacts from a Indigenous fishing encampment on your front lawn. Mm-hmm. So we're very aware of that here. Chris suggests the Thin Red Line for his Glass Tiger video.
Yeah, I mean, that's an excellent one too. Like, truly, there's so many of them, I think. And as I said, I had to pick one, and I went with this one because of that more personal connection to me. And also because it's my favorite album.
Yeah. Now, I recall I'm Still Searching being the first video, but
was it?
Come see.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Either way, it was, I believe Diamond Sun was the second. Henry Wright did not have cable in New York State in the 80s, but would watch MTV at other people's houses. And Friday night videos came up. I think Chris mentioned Friday night videos earlier. Good Rockin' Tonight and Video Hits. I remember Video Hits and Friday night videos. There was a show at a WUTV Buffalo called The Great Record Album Collection that was in the very early 80s, around the time of Styx, Mr. Roboto, and Come On Feel the Noise. That would be 83. And that was one of our music video options growing up, along with Toronto Rocks on City TV. Roger, you wouldn't know any of my picks. That's right. And Diamond Sun was the second, correct? Chris.
Okay.
All right, let's go with Jex Russell's number 4. So this is Jex introducing number 4.
Are you hungry for more? Well, let's get into my number 4. Okay, so before we ever got much music in the East Coast, anyway, there wasn't really any place to watch music videos. And there was a special that aired, this is before I was even born, I think it was 1984. My dad taped this special that aired on French Canadian TV. And the special was called La Grande Nuit Video, which is French for the big night of videos. You know, because we didn't have specialty music video channels. We didn't get MTV, you know, and like I said, we hadn't gotten much music yet. So there was this special that aired. I don't know how long the special was, but my dad was able to fill a 2-hour tape full of music videos. So even though I wasn't born, when it aired, I was able to enjoy the tape in the years to come. And there was this one song, this one video on the tape that just swept me in. And it's a little song by a band called Men Without Hats from the album Rhythm of Youth. And the song is, of course, Safety Dance. And again, visually beautiful. It was filmed in England. It's a beautiful, cloudy scenery. And I don't know what era it's supposed to depict. I'm no good in history. I'm not a history buff by any stretch. My go-to answer is always medieval times, which I don't think this is. But let's just say it's kind of like medieval, but it's like Highlander. It's like Highlander-esque. But yeah, it's really, I love the way it's shot. Even seeing it as a kid, I thought that the vocalist Ivan, please hold, Ivan Durashuk. Right? I'm sorry, I don't know by heart the name of the lead singer of Men Without Hats. I'm so sorry, I'm ashamed. But yes, Ivan Durashuk. I thought he was badass looking, man. I thought it was cool. He had the long hair and the way he looked at the camera, you know, when he was singing the song. He's like, we can dance if we want to, you can leave your friends behind. The voice and everything. I'm like, this guy's cool. And he had a little person with him. You know, the kind of the weird hat, and the blonde girl. Remember the blonde girl? Danse! You know, I was like, this is all cool, man. This is all so cool. As a kid, I can understand why I was just like, hey, I like this. So it had to make my list. Oh, wait. I just remembered. I brought the tape over to my friend Matt's house later down the line. We were teenagers. And I brought that, you know, the big night of videos. I brought it over to his place because, you know, there's no YouTube yet. And so there was no other way for us, if we wanted to watch retro videos, I just brought over that tape. And we got the Safety Dance. And there's a part where they do this dance, right? And I'm like, what are they doing? And Matt, sharp as a tack, he was like, isn't it obvious? It's an S. You know, safety? And I'm like, you're crazy. How are you making this stuff up so quickly? And as it turns out, yes, he was guessing, but he was correct. That's the dance. Safety. So, yeah. My number 4, Safety Dance. Men Without Hats.
Okay, I'm going to run the number 4, and then I'm going to go grab my sunglasses because the sun is setting right in my eyes. But this is Jex's number 4. Catherine, can you talk about Safety Dance while I go run and get my sunglasses?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll be right back.
So this is actually a video that I had considered putting on my top 5 list because it is one of the ones that you definitely associate with that time. And I always thought that the lead singer of this band kind of looked like Alan Frew from Glass Tiger. He doesn't anymore, but at that time he did. Mike, do you think the lead singer looks like Alan Frew? Because
I heard you say that. No, and
I always thought he did.
I don't think there's the and Roger. No, you don't say dwarf. You do say little person. And there's a Punch and Judy as well. Yeah, medieval times is what I would say.
Totally medieval. Yeah, it's like a medieval fair.
Yeah, yes, kind of like a medieval fair, a fake medieval times. Great pick though, Jex, and Canadian content. Mm-hmm. You know, we grew up on that, and I always was amused by the line, "Everybody, look at your hands." just a bizarre line. Okay, so it's my turn, right? I can't be expected to keep track because I'm doing all this stuff. Actually, I'm going to go through some of these comments real quick. Apparently, Homer Simpson saying Men Without Hats. Still doing shows, and Jex is killing it tonight. He is absolutely killing it tonight. Thanks for tuning in, Dar Erickson. Absolutely great Canadian video. Chris, yes. Run Away, yes, it's by Slade, which never got played on Much Music. Never. Watching Richards. Yeah,
I was thinking the same
these
thing.
are the glasses that go. They're my driving glasses. They go over my regular glasses. Leave me alone. Text News Midnight Runners. Yes, yes, very similar in vibe. I get. Okay, so my number 4, we're going to run this video here. We'll see if Catherine remembers this little nugget. Oh, shit, that's your number.
Wrong one.
No, I did not pick the same number 4 as you. See, I told you this was going to be tricky. Okay, we're looking for video file M4, not K4. There we go. Now, I liked this one. It had a bit of a storyline to it. It's these guys sneaking in some equipment to do a bootleg video of Aerosmith. This is from Done with Mirrors. This was the first Aerosmith that I ever saw. And what drew me to this video was actually Joe Perry's transparent plexiglass guitar. I don't know if you remember this, but Bob Shipper and I were really obsessed with different kinds of guitars, like Cheap Trick, The Flame, Rick Nielsen's Five Neck. In this video, it's Joe Perry's transparent plexiglass guitar that we loved. Well, actually, it was more me than him. He was not an Aerosmith guy, but there it is. Great shot of the transparent guitar there. This dude here has the top hat before Slash did, but he has his video camera stowed in his top hat as they're bootlegging this video. And as you can see at the end of the video, they're watching the bootleg on their TV with Aerosmith hanging out with them in the living room, which is a neat little twist. So this is Let the Music Do the Talkin', by the way. I don't know if I mentioned the title. Let the Music Do the Talkin' from Done with Mirrors by Aerosmith as my number 4. Do you remember that one, Catherine, at all?
I remember the guitar. I honestly, that's the only thing I remember about that video, but I do remember that guitar. Yeah.
Look at this guy. Listen, man. These are keeping my eyes from getting fried by the sun. So you shut up. And Chris is supporting my let the music do the talking pick. Picking just 5 was very hard, but I wanted to focus on some specific likes and dislikes, you know. And I could probably look at an eclipse with these glasses. So we're back to you. I guess we're on number 3 now.
Yeah, I remember what this one is.
Okay, so present file K3. Yeah, epic.
So this one is, I think, one of the best known videos of the 80s. And honestly, it's kind of why I put it a little bit lower at number 3, because it almost feels cliche to pick it. This is Take On Me by a-ha. And even though it is a little bit cliche, because, you know, you see this video on like every top 10 list of the best videos of the 80s, it's always there. I still put it on there because I remember when I saw it for the first time, and it was during the 80s when I saw it, not when it first came out, but like quite a few years later. And I just remember watching it and thinking, this is the coolest thing I have ever seen in my life. And you know, and I remembered that. And for the longest time, I actually always considered it, you know, because I remembered that memory just etched in my brain, that I always thought, no, this is like the best video of all time, is my favorite video of all time. And then, I don't know, I feel like 10 years ago or something, everyone started talking about this video, and like you just started seeing it everywhere. And then it just kind of lost that special factor for me, because it was almost like, well, this was my special memory, and now like everyone loves this video.
Yeah.
But as you can see, it's you don't know what this is. It's Take On Me by a-ha.
No, he said even I know what this is, he says.
I thought he said he didn't. But yeah, so the kind of like really interesting imagery of like the cartoon come to life, just so interesting, so iconic. And so I would say that this is probably actually my favorite video of all time, but I'm ranking
We're not going
it
to change
lower.
the running order now.
Yeah,
I got to
no,
rename all the
no.
files. Now, what do you think?
I'm locked in at number 3 tonight.
What do you think about Chris's? I don't remember Borderline. Do you remember this?
I don't remember that video. No, I know the song, but I don't remember the video.
He does back you on Take On Me being one of the best videos of all time. Iconic. It's been parodied. It's been homaged. It's been so influential. And it was probably one of the most technically advanced videos of all time at the time of its making. Don't think I knew they were European back then. Norway. I don't know, Henry.
I thought they were Sweden, but I don't know. Scandinavian, I think.
Well, let's go with Jex's number 3 here. And by the way, just for the record, I haven't watched any of his intros, so I have no idea what he's about to say before he says it. Here's Jex.
All right. So my number 3, this band is a favorite of mine, so they had to make the list. And there's not much to this video. I'll just tell you. Okay, the band is Van Halen from their 1984 album, 1984. The song is Jump. I bet you thought I was going to say Hot for Teacher. No, that's a good one too, though. But I went with Jump because, well, for many reasons. I like the simplicity of it. Again, it's simple. And upon rewatching it, I'm like, hey, it's not so different from Big Bang Baby, Stone Temple Pilots, my number 5. Whereas it's the band on a stage, and you just have the lead singer singing to the camera, you might as well jump. You got David Lee Roth being David Lee Roth, and that's pretty much it. It's not a white backdrop this time. I think it's all black. But it's the same premise. There's no wraparound story. There's no big, punch. It's just the band being the band and having fun. And I think that's why I liked it so much at a young age. And this was another one that was on that videotape, La Grande Nuit Video, the big night of videos. And I remember it because it was the very last video on the tape. And the reason why I remember that it was the last video is because the tape ran out about midway through the video. So we didn't have the complete version of Jump. We just had a bit of it. Around probably halfway through, I would say. You have the Eddie Van Halen does his solo, and you have David Lee Roth doing like a big split jump, and then shortly after, done. So I always remembered that. But luckily, I was able to enjoy the video again later down the line when Much Music in the 90s would have a special weekend called the 80s Weekend. Because in the 90s, the 80s were so long ago, we had to reminisce. We just had to. Right? People probably didn't remember the 80s that were not even 10 years ago. So, but I love the 80s Weekend because, again, I was too young to enjoy the 80s. So for me, it was kind of like a rediscovery. So, I rediscovered Jump in its full form on the 80s Weekend on Much Music. And it was a great experience. And that's just what I always took from that video was the fun that they all seem to have. Like I said, David Lee Roth singing at the camera, and Eddie Van Halen and Michael Anthony especially. They just seem to, they're smiling away, they're having fun, they're playing their instruments, and of course you have Alex Van Halen on drums doing his thing, and it all looked so, I don't know, it just looked fun. Eddie Van Halen smiling away like he always does, and now I'm a huge fan. Years later, I'm a huge fan of Van Halen. Jump I find a bit overplayed, but I don't mind it from time to time. Like revisiting the video, I was like, hey, this is cool. So had to make my list. Again, they had a lot of other great videos, but had to go with Jump because you might as well. My number 3.
I'd just like to address Roger's comment here. No, she didn't. And Dar, apparently the Jump video was $300 to make it. Here's a little clip from Jump. This was on our very first videotape that we had. It was iconic for us. I recall these jumps that David Lee Roth was making being so cool. Didn't care for the raggedy clothing so much, but the other guys looked fine. Michael Anthony looked great there, playing his bass with the 5 o'clock shadow kind of beard. Eddie smiling away at the camera. That is such an iconic shot. Eddie Van Halen's grin was so special, and there was nobody quite like him. Then a shot from the keyboard solo, big Oberheim OB8, and look at that. David Lee Roth. There hasn't been a frontman like David Lee Roth since the classic age of Van Halen. What can you say about that? That is just, it is iconic. If I was picking a video from 1984, other people said Panama, other people said Hot for Teacher, I would pick Jump. Jump was getting played everywhere. Hang on a second. So, okay, Meat, we'll read your list. Yes, Owner of a Lonely Heart. I don't remember it. Dio, The Last in Line. Dr. Catherine originally picked Holy Diver, but there's some kind of weird copyright protection on it, so we were not able to run that. Distant Early Warning is a great video, kind of a Dr. Strangelove homage with the kid riding on that missile. Uptown Girl was a song that Catherine learned to dance to way back when she was taking dance classes. I do not know that particular Head Over Heels Tears for Fears.
I know that one. That's a great one.
I would have picked Shout personally, or Everybody Wants to.
Everybody, yeah.
No. And
Head Over Heels is a better video.
Buffalo Stance by Nana Cherry is kind of more late 80s, but that's an interesting pick. I remember that being a striking video as well. Jump is amazing, and agreed, Mike, he misses Eddie's smile so much. Okay, so my number 3, let's get this video file going, is a classic. You know I had to pick one by this band.
Of course.
And isn't this one of their, it has to be considered one of their best. I mean, they didn't make many with makeup. So I wanted to do a makeup video. This was on one of our earliest videotapes. We taped it from our next door neighbor, George Balaz.
What's the song?
I love it. Loud.
Okay.
Wanna hear it loud, right between the eyes. Ace Frehley was essentially out of the band by the time they made this video. He's barely in the video. You know, there's a couple shots of him, but you know, it's Paul Stanley kind of taking the spotlight during the solo section. I love that Gene Simmons is blowing fire through the TV screen and burning the man's newspaper and melting their telephone. That was great stuff. This was our only Kiss video that they were running back then that had them in makeup. Like we did not have access to the music videos that we have at our fingertips today. We were at the mercy of much music had in their archives. And this was basically at the start of Much Music, the only makeup video that they had in their archives. But it's brilliant. I was thinking about All Hell's Breaking Loose, but at the end of the day, there's 2 music videos from that era that are very, very similar, and we're playing one of those music videos already tonight, and we'll get there when we get there. Roger, you've lost me. Uncle Meat is not a fan of the Creatures of the Night album, incidentally. He considers it heavy metal bullshit, as in Kiss are like, let's try heavy metal. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Mom.
Thanks for watching.
And now we're on to you with your number 2. So
I remember the
at
rest
this
of
point, we're narrowing it down to the last 2 videos, and this is very special. Hard to pick highlights from this.
Very hard to pick highlights in this one. So this is Tell No Lies by one of my favorite bands of all time, The Spoons. Probably the band I've seen live the most and met the most as well. Just a fun fact there, Rob Pruce, their keyboard player, the guy with the like blonde tips in his hair, a couple of years ago, he wished me a personal happy birthday on my Facebook page. Very nice guy. He
was also in Honeymoon Suite.
He was, after the Spoons, he joined Honeymoon Suite. And this was the first video I ever saw of the Spoons. So this is a special one for me. Well, one, because it's so weird and stupid and goofy, but also because it was the song in the video that drew me in and, and started me on that journey of loving this band. Even though this is not like one of their early songs, really. Like they had a couple albums out before this song.
This
and
is album number 3, I believe.
Yeah, and I didn't even I grew up not even knowing their other songs like Nova Heart I heard much later. Arias and Symphonies I heard much later. For me it was Tell No Lies. Tell No Lies and Romantic Traffic. That was the golden era for me. That was my introduction to this band. But the video is so low budget and so silly and so fun and
well made.
Yeah, it was. And if you're a kid watching this video, it just has the most fun imagery. Like you couldn't help but love it. And the song is so good as well. So
it's so fun. And I gotta say one other thing because it's gonna come up. It is gonna come up, I believe, with your number 2 pick.
That is my number 2.
Wait a second. There's one other video that was gonna get played.
Yeah, my number 1.
Is it what I think it is? Okay. So we'll get to it, but there's all I want to say is this: Sandy Horn's hair. Was that a part of why you liked this video?
No, it was all their hair. They had like the
But
coolest.
Sandy
like,
Horn's
spiky
was
hair.
so good. Like
Yeah.
she really had great hair on that video, and she's continues to look amazing. But
Yeah.
a fun story about that band is one of their can't remember his name, but high school math and computers teacher, Mr. I've lost his name. His brother was in the Spoons. And I've
Was that
completely-
Gord Depp's?
No,
brother?
no, I've completely lost the name. I had this 2 days ago when I was preparing. Metal Queen Lee Aaron is a blast from the past. That did not make
Yeah.
my list. I think that's a video that maybe is a little risque for today, considering the subject matter. I remember it was very controversial at the time. Okay, so we're going with Jex's number 2. I think he had a photo that he wanted me to show. So just give me a second here. I'm going to try to find this photo. You know what? I'm not going to. I'm losing myself here, so I'm not going to show the photo. He had a photo of his birthday party when he received his next pick on cassette, but I will let him introduce the song. This is Jex's number 2.
All right, guys, number 2. My number 2 pick is from an album that I still can't believe I have on vinyl because it's an album from 1997. And in 1997, albums weren't commonly pressed on vinyl, at least not here in North America, but in Europe, they were. And this is a European pressing. And the album is called Homework. This is the debut from Daft Punk. And the song in question is Da Funk. And what a music video, man. I first saw Da Funk. I remembered like it was yesterday. It was the spring of 1997. It was on our little TV set that we had in the kitchen. It was me, my older sister Natasha, and her friend Stephanie. And I forget if they were watching TV and I just happened to walk in or vice versa. That detail is a little fuzzy, but the rest I remember like it was yesterday. Much music was on the TV, and then this music video comes on, Da Funk. And it's like New York City at night. And this dog head, but with a man's body, with a broken leg and a crutch and a cast, walking away, talking to people like it's the most normal thing. Everyone's reacting like it's normal. It's totally cool. And I'm like, this is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. This is cool, you know. And then he bumps into a woman, just a normal woman who I think they had gone to school together, and it's just like, whoa, you know. And then they go to hang out. He can't get on the bus because there's no music on the bus, and he has this big boom box that just happens to be blasting Da Funk. It's genius. I love it, and I loved it at, how old was I? Not even 12. And yeah, my sister took notice of how I liked it, and for my birthday that year when I turned 12, she got me the cassette tape of Homework, and which I still have. I didn't bring it, but I still have. I just brought my record copy here, but I listened to that tape to death, and I wouldn't say that I enjoyed every song. Some songs were a little too bizarre for me, but there were a lot of songs that I enjoyed, and Da Funk was just always reminded me of that video. I can't listen to it and not picture that video, the dog man and all those things. And it was directed by Spike Jonze, who is a director that I've come to really admire and respect over the years, and he's done a lot of great work. Especially in the music video industry. Like he directed Buddy Holly by Weezer, which is another one that it could have made my list, and I only thought of it later down the line when I had already submitted my picks. I thought, oh, Buddy Holly, that's a good one. But yeah, Spike Jonze does amazing work, and I have a lot of respect for him, so this had to make my list. Da Funk, great memories of my sister. So my number 2.
All right. And Henry said he got to see this. So here's a little bit of that. I kind of wish I'd edited longer clips for these videos, but I was just, it's the first time we've tried this. So there's the dog face guy. And this was such a bizarre video. There's this dog face guy walking around with a boom box and people are just treating him like a normal guy. And for some reason, he's got a broken leg and he runs into this girl. it was striking. It's an instrumental track, so what you'd be hearing if we were playing it is the instrumental track with the dialogue of him walking around New York. He wants to get on this bus with this girl, but there's no radios allowed. No radios allowed. And he's got a radio. Oh, it's a great video. Again, I wish I'd done longer clips. Spike Jonze is, an acclaimed director now. And this is some of his earliest work. Chris P notes that Lee Aaron kind of disowned that song for a while, but I believe she has kind of reclaimed her metal heritage. There you go. Thankfully, she's embraced it again. It's such a great song of female empowerment. I'll be seeing her again in a couple of months. It will be good to catch up with Lee Aaron. Maybe no dogs allowed either. But that's the funny thing about it, is that's what you expect. You expect it to be no dogs allowed, but it's no radios. And the guy's got a radio. And that's what's funny about that situation to me. Okay, so it is now time for my number 2 pick, which, I forgot all this since I've edited these videos. So it's a surprise to me too. Oh, yes. Loudness, Let It Go. I loved this video when I was growing up. For whatever reason, I loved Japanese culture and Japanese people, and today I love Japanese food. But Loudness were the only Japanese band that we'd really heard of this early on in our lives. And it was initially the song Crazy Nights that Much Music played, but this one came from a later album called Lightning Strikes. And one of the things I liked about this video is that it depicts this guitar of Akira Takasaki being carved out of a piece of wood from a tree that was hit by lightning at the opening of the video. And it kind of, like, you can see it being carved here. And I thought the singer Minoru Niihara, I thought he just looked really cool with that suit jacket and the long straight black hair. And I was very influenced by Image. And this is, by the way, an extremely catchy rock song too. So Loudness, Let It Go. Huge impact on me. I was sick. I don't know how much you remember, but I was sick with mono.
I remember that. Yep.
Yeah. So I was home for like 2-3 months, sitting in the basement, taping Much Music, and then rewinding and watching those tapes over and over and over again. And this is from that era. And so was my number 1 pick, actually, is also from that era. But there was Rough Boy by ZZ Top, Metal on Metal by Anvil, all from that era. Chris is shocked to see Loudness. I'm glad to be surprising people. Not a Daft Punk fan, but the video is fantastic. Guilty Pleasures, Physical by Olivia Newton-John, Rise Up by Parachute Club, yes. Making It Work, Doug and the Slugs, and Bye Bye Monk Cowboy is absolutely iconic. Absolutely iconic. Sean Kelly, his band Trapper have covered Bye Bye Monk Cowboy, and I've shown off that cassette on this show before. I don't think I know Loudness. Okay, well, Loudness they're still together. They never broke up, are one of Japan's biggest metal bands, if not the biggest, and they have like 30 albums altogether in their career. And I highly recommend you check them out. The guitar player is kind of considered Japan's Eddie Van Halen. Okay, so I guess this is it. This is number 1. So I'm going to run this video, and we'll come back to the big hair thing, because it definitely comes into play with Catherine's number 1. And also, this is the reason why I didn't pick All Hell's Breaking Loose by Kiss, because this video has a very similar kind of theme.
It's also kind of a good segue with the whole like Japan thing too.
Yes.
So this is Motley Crue, Too Young to Fall in Love. And this was one of my absolute favorite videos from the 80s for many, many reasons. I mean, part of it is just the look of Motley Crue and the big hair and the spandex pants and just how cool they looked. It really resonated with me. And I've always been obsessed with Nikki Sixx and the way that Nikki Sixx looks. I still follow him on Instagram. And I don't know. He still has like the spiky hair. It's
yes, he does. He does.
Prominent. Yeah, it's not as prominent as it is here, but I always loved the look of Nikki Sixx and just like the big hair, like hiding his eyes and like the the makeup and everything. But the main reason I love this video is because of the martial arts. It's so cheesy. Like the scenes that you can see in this clip are so badly choreographed. But as a kid, I didn't know any better, and I just thought it was so cool that Motley Crue just shows up in this place and they're like kicking everyone's ass, and they're defeating all these martial arts experts with weapons and stuff. And at the end, Tommy Lee is stealing some of the food. And then
hang on, Chris just posted that comment.
Oh, I
love
didn't
the ending of
that.
this one. Tommy's spitting out the rice and getting attacked.
Yeah. And he just knows that the guy's behind him. But I don't know. To me, it's like best Motley Crue video of all time. One of the best heavy metal videos of all time, in my opinion. Yeah. And just love everything about this. And I second the comment made in the previous video about the fascination with Japanese culture. And for me, it happened at a very young age too, because of this type of thing. And being in love with the Karate Kid films and learning about Mr. Miyagi and all that stuff. And I'm going to Japan at the end of July, first time ever. And I can't wait. It's after, a lifetime of being obsessed with Japanese culture.
So Dar agrees, best Crue video for sure. Roger's number one, Be Unforgiven by Metallica. Absolutely. It's a great video. The Crue looks so cool. Yes, they did. That was one thing we really liked about them, is they looked like they were warriors. Even though their costumes are absolutely ridiculous, and Vince Neil, his armor wouldn't exactly protect his abdomen, but they looked cool. The comments are going so fast here. I'm really sorry. I cannot keep up with everything. Smoking in the Boys Room. Okay, so I don't want to say too much here, because last Saturday I recorded an episode of Rock Daydream Nation with Peter Kerr regarding Motley Crue's Theater of Pain. I guess maybe that's a spoiler. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I recorded this episode, and we will be I talk a lot about The Image, and I talk a lot about this song, and stay tuned. This show is coming. It is really good. It is really epic. Have fun in Japan. I'm hoping she'll look for some Japanese import CDs for me, maybe some Def Leppard.
And some Nintendo things.
Yes. That's a Man by Kim Mitchell. Oh my God, yes. Go for Soda would have made my list because it was technically an achievement. They did that on minimal budget. They were like shooting two things simultaneously and mixing the signal together into one to superimpose Kim Mitchell playing in that refrigerator. Really a technical marvel for the budget. That's a Man was the stripper video, if you remember that.
I remember that one, yeah.
Chris P. Theater of Pain. Okay, so let's just say watch Rock Daydream Nation when that video goes up. You will be impressed. Yes. Okay, Roger. Yes, she's going to look for you. Def Leppard for everyone. Chris P. mentioned Thriller, so I guess
I almost picked that. It felt wrong to not have that on this list. It's such an obvious one, but yeah, I was hoping someone else would pick it.
Well, let's just say Jex told me that his intro to this next video is 6 minutes long.
Oh, geez.
So here's Jex talking about Michael Jackson's iconic Thriller.
Hello, everyone.
I'll be right back.
I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person tonight. What can I say? I'm juggling a bunch of things at the
Wrong
same
video.
time. And I'm just...
Good thing I didn't go too far. This is Jex talking about Thriller for apparently 6 minutes.
All right, folks. Number one. Now, this one was clear to me. Before I even started working on this list, I knew what number one was going to be. It was so clear to me. This one I discovered through the previously mentioned 80s weekend on Much Music. This must have been mid-90s. I think I was around 10 years old. The music was already over a decade old. The music video, that is, was already over a decade old. And it's a little-known artist. I mean, you may have heard of him. I think he might have been popular in some territories. Michael Jackson is his name. And it's a title track from this little album right here called Thriller. I'm being a smartass, can you tell? Anyway, Thriller! Dude, okay, what a video. My 10-year-old self, again, that little TV set in the kitchen. I think we had just finished supper. We had TV on, Much Music, 80s weekend, and whoever the VJ was, the video jockey, announces, okay, coming on next, Thriller. My sister's got all excited. Wow, Thriller. You know, and I'm like, you know, I knew who Michael Jackson was. I knew some songs, Beat It, Billie Jean, but I'd never seen the music video for Thriller. So after the commercial break, it comes on, and I was just so just mesmerized. I'm like, this is like a movie. This is like I'm watching a movie. It's a story here. You know, the beginning where you see Michael Jackson and the lady, you know, run out of gas. They go for a walk and goes, I gotta tell you, I'm not like other guys, right? All of a sudden, full moon. You know, and then the girl, and then he chases her. She's running through the woods, and he's just, and then she trips. Convenient, right? And then just the werewolf Jackson, and she's like, and then you find out it's all a movie. It's a movie within the movie. Well, no, a movie within the music video, right? Then the real Michael Jackson and the lady, which is the same lady, they're in a movie theater watching a scary movie. She's not into it. She's not digging it at all. Walks out. Right? Michael Jackson chases her out of the theater, and to cheer her up, he starts singing Thriller. Great segue, right? Everything's all good. She's happy now. She's cool. But all of a sudden, zombies risen from the grave. Of course, I hate when that happens. You know, they're surrounded. Michael Jackson and the lady, they're surrounded. Oh man, what are they gonna do? Zoom in on Michael Jackson's face? He's a zombie! Oh shit! What could possibly happen next? You guessed it, a kick-ass zombie dance! Like, it just keeps getting better, man. 10-year-old Jax, I was like, are you kidding me? I gotta say, I was kind of nervous. Like the whole werewolf scene at the beginning, you know, we didn't really watch horror movies in my house, so my hair is kind of crazy. You know, so I wasn't used to seeing things like that. So the imagery, the transformation, yeah, it scared me a bit, I'm not gonna lie. But then when the whole dancing comes on, I'm like, this is awesome. So the whole zombie dance, and then, you know, I forget how it ends. All I remember is the eyes, you know, and then it's just great. I just described the whole video. People are probably saying spoiler alert, but I'm thinking everybody's seen Thriller by now, except maybe little children, which I doubt are watching this show. So I have no worry about spoiling anything. But I've come over the years. I've gained so much appreciation for this video, even more because of all the talent involved. Like, it was directed by John Landis, whose films I've come to love. You know, as an adult, like I just love his style of filmmaking. The makeup effects, that whole werewolf thing, the transformation was done by Rick Baker. Rick Baker is one of the greats when it comes to makeup effects. You know, he worked with John Landis in American Werewolf in London, 1981, 2 years before this. And then the music, the score in this video, like when it's not Thriller, you know, during the film sequences, the score was done by Elmer Bernstein, who has come to be one of my favorite film composers. He would go on to score Ghostbusters the following year, one of my all-time favorite movies. It's, you know, oh, did I mention Vincent Price? Vincent Price, legendary horror actor, does the whole voiceover, you know, deep in the night in your neighborhood. I can't remember word for word, but you know, the Vincent Price, and he does that laugh at the end. It's and I have the special edition CD. I have it at home, Thriller. And if I recall correctly, I might be remembering this wrong, but there are some bonus tracks, and I think there are some Vincent Price outtakes.
Yes.
So I'd have to go back and look, but yeah, this whole thing, it just makes me happy just talking about it. I watched it before filming this earlier today on my break, and it holds up, dude. It holds up. I love that music video. I consider it more of a short film, a musical short film. I have at home the videotape, the making of Thriller, which has a music video, then just a bunch of behind the scenes stuff, and you have like John Landis interviews, Michael Jackson interviews. I think they interview each other, which is really cool. And Michael Jackson talks about his love for horror films. It's great stuff. I recommend. It's probably on YouTube. So I've rambled on now. Apologies. That was my number one. Thriller is one of the greatest music videos of all time. I'm just gonna say it. I'm not even that big of a Michael Jackson fan. You know, he's got some good songs, but that music video, like I said, the talent involved in everything, it's entertaining. I look forward to showing it to my kids when they're older. It's perfect. I said it. It's perfect. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to have been able to do this, even though I couldn't be there in person. So have a great night, everybody. This is Thriller Night. Mike don't dare put that in the intro.
There you go, Roger. There you go. And thank you, Henry, for watching this far. We'll catch up with you tomorrow. Thank you, Jack, so much for your enthusiasm. That was brilliant. Like I said, I didn't know what to expect. No idea what he was filming. He told me this Thriller thing was 6 minutes long, and what I'm going to show you is nothing compared to what he just did. There's almost no point. Also, the video had some weird copyright protection on it, so I had to make my own of still shots. But you get the idea from what he said. There's him and the girl, and I'm not like other guys. And there's the zombies. They're running for their lives. And this was an iconic video. I remember the Michael Jackson V outfit was very popular. There was that one in the zipper outfit. There were the two. And that one was, I think, my favorite over the zippers. There's Zombie Michael, which I hate. Oh, God, that creeped me out so much. The sunken eyes, they did it so well. That's why it creeped me out. And then at the end, he's got these Sith eyes. Oh, my God, it is an iconic video. And I remember Cousin Jeffrey had the making of tape that somebody, I think Jex mentioned in his. There's so many comments and everything. My God, I can't keep the comments straight from everything else. But I'm glad somebody picked Thriller, because it is, I would argue, maybe the most important music video of all time.
Yep.
It is a short film and not his last. He's done it since. I remember when the music video for Bad came out, it was almost a short film. Him getting on the subway, that long extended sequence. And then he did a later one for Ghosts. Michael Jackson was the master. Now Roger can stay subscribed because he got the zombie dance. And Catherine knows for a fact that I suck at the zombie dance. She's seen it happen.
Yes, I have.
I was
practice.
I was completely out of sync from everybody else. Everybody was going this way. I'm going this way. I was 180 degrees out of sync with everybody. Worst video of the 80s, Rock Me Tonight by Billy Squier is awful. It almost killed his career. Yes, absolutely. I didn't think of any worst ofs, but I did want to mention some runners up. I almost included Come On Feel the Noise, when that radio speaker keeps getting larger and larger and larger, and the guy keeps trying to turn it down, and he can't quite reach the knob, and he can't turn the knob, and finally the wall breaks through, and it's Quiet Riot on the other side of the wall, and Kevin Dubrow throws the mask. That's an iconic video. You like Carlos Cavazzo's hair. Carlos Cavazzo is currently in King Cobra, by the way, if you remember King Cobra, and I just bought their new album, and it's not bad. You look like you have 3 left feet. Yes, that is 100% accurate, Roger. No one will ever ask me to ever do a synchronized dance ever again. Anyway, that's a great number 1 pick. I didn't realize John Landis directed it, and I don't know what Chris meant when he says he's an awful human being, but you hear that a lot about people in Hollywood, so I take that with a grain of salt every time, especially in the 80s. What else do I want to say about Michael Jackson? I had Thriller on cassette. I had that, and I had Culture Club, and both of those tapes ended up getting erased, and Mike and Bob recordings.
Oh no!
I still have both cassette shells. I still have them both. I would like to buy Thriller again. I would like to have that album again, because basically, 5 singles? I almost picked Beat It. That was a runner-up. There's a Tear in My Beer by Hank Jr. and Sr. almost made my list. Oh, Twilight Zone the movie.
Are you gonna play your number 1? Because you haven't
I just want to talk. Okay, so you're in a rush. Okay, so I'll stop with the runners.
I wondered if you forgot.
No, I was doing runners up, but we'll get to my.
No, continue.
Okay. The Last in Line by Dio was one that Meat mentioned, and again, it's one of those weird things where the band is kind of like in a surreal hellscape where there's monsters and people it's bizarre. It seems to be some kind of indictment on modern society while being in some kind of fantasy hellscape. And even though it's one of the worst videos of all time, I almost picked Zero the Hero by Black Sabbath. because I love that song. But the video is terrible. It is awful. You remember that video? It's
No.
god awful. There's like a weird Hitler zombie, and they're like resurrecting this like Frankenstein creature, and then they take his wrappings off, and it's like Revenge of the Nerds guy, and he's got these big, thick, black-rimmed glasses, and there's another guy that looks like Frankenstein, and a horse trying to walk backwards down a staircase. It's bizarre, and it's creepy as hell. But it was my first Black Sabbath, so I almost picked Zero the Hero, but in all good consciousness, I couldn't make anybody watch that imagery. It's just terrible. My number one is a video you will remember very well. I'm not even going to say a word. I'm going to let you identify it.
Oh, yeah, the hearing aid. Is this?
You got it. You got it. You got it. Hearing Aid Stars. I had to select minor clips here. There's the guys from Spinal Tap, Brad Gillis from Night Ranger. It's nice that there were subtitles on this version. Neil Sean from Journey. I didn't know a lot of these guys yet when I was a young kid. I knew Dio and I knew Yngwie. We were listening to Yngwie in the car on the way up to the cottage, incidentally. We watched this video so many times. It's about 7 minutes long. The guitar solo is about 3 minutes long because they have all these guys. Kevin Dubrow from Quiet Riot right there. Rob Halford from Judas Priest. Dave Meniketti from Y&T. There's Jeff Tate from Queensryche. This was basically the heavy metal version of We Are the World. Of Tears Are Not Enough, to use the Canadian example. There's Vince Neil from Motley Crue. This was essentially a song that Vivian Campbell and Jimmy Bain, the two gentlemen here, they wrote it. They were trying to do something for famine relief, and they were trying to get Dio involved, and he was like, I'm busy. I'm doing something else. He was trying to get his third solo album made. And they had Kevin Dubrow. According to what I remember reading in magazines at the time, they had Kevin Dubrow producing this track, but he just didn't have the leadership, the strength needed to corral all of these guys, and they needed somebody with Dio's experience and personality. So he took over the project, and it became, one of his career high points, in my opinion. I think it's a great song. The video blew me away because I was learning about heavy metal music, and here's this is like cramming for your final exams all in 7 minutes. We used to look at these guys and wonder who some of these guys were, because I hadn't heard some of these bands before. And Much Music also ran that cool Hearing Aid special where they were interviewing, JD Roberts was interviewing Dio in the studio, and they're talking about the famine relief. And this is, incidentally, one of the rarest CDs that I own in my collection. It was only printed in Japan for a short period of time in the 90s, and I have a CD copy of Hearing Aid Stars, and it needs a reissue. It needs a reissue. They need to put out a CD, DVD set with that music video and the making of Hearing Aid and everything else, all in one. Donate the funds to some other charity, maybe Dio's Cancer Fund. But that's a great song. If it was on a Dio album, it would be considered one of his best songs. But unfortunately, it's kind of forgotten simply because it's out of print. And this is probably due to the rights involved of all the different artists. We've talked about that numerous times on the show because this album keeps coming up over and over and over again as one that people want to see reissued and know more about, because it's a fascinating project to see Rob Halford and Kevin Dubrow and guys from Motley Crue and Quiet Riot and Blue Oyster Cult and Journey and Spinal Tap that's Harry Shearer and Mike McKean from Spinal Tap in the video, and they actually recorded on the song. They sang on the song. Let's quickly catch up with comments before we close off the show. That was my number one. She's probably in a rush. She is a doctor after all. Yeah, that's funny. I saw my doctor 2 weeks ago, and I had about 3 minutes with her. Yngwie is such an asshole. That is generally a perception, yes. Chris has not seen the video in ages. Well, glad to bring it back to your attention. The Meat Man, great picks, loves that Catherine picked the spoons. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to say about that is I think it was Jex's very first show or his second show with me. He bought that record and showed it off. That's exactly the album.
I remember seeing it in the intro for this show.
So he had a signed copy by Sandy Horn. You have some Spoons autographs too.
Oh, tons of them. Yeah.
Spoons, Nova Heart, and Meat knew that I was picking stars. I guess I'm predictable. Hearing Aid on vinyl and cassette. I had cassette and I still have vinyl. Okay, well, that's the show. That's our top 5 music videos. This has been an absolute blast. It didn't train wreck too often, except for at the end there. Do you have any runners up you want to mention after all? Oh, one other TV dinner, ZZ Top with that little claymation guy.
You know, I don't really think I have any others to add that haven't been mentioned in passing. I definitely really wanted to put Michael Jackson on there somewhere, so I'm really, really glad that Jex covered Thriller. As I said, I didn't, because I was kind of banking on one of you covering that. But I think, no, I can't think of any others that haven't already been mentioned.
Excellent.
And Daisy can't either. So.
And Daisy can't either. Actually, I was going to say on Daisy's behalf, a little bit later on in the 80s, but terriers are really good for the aged. Studies show that they help prolong old people's lives. That's a classic. Kids in the Hall. That's actually probably early 90s, I would think. But Sleeping Bag by ZZ Top. That was a good one. They had great videos. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Really appreciate all the comments. I'm sorry I wasn't able to address everything, and I'm sorry I had to flash through them. But this has been an awesome night. Jen and I have a sunset to go and catch, and I'm sure the good doctor has some important schnauzer business to attend to. So thank you again. Have a great night. And next week, I will be back with new guest Darcy Briggs and returning guest Nurse Cat to talk all about the Arkells. They have a new album coming out next Friday. I hope to have it in my hands next Friday. Tune in 7:00 p.m. same time, same channel for the Arkells. We're going to do the complete discography, hopefully including the new album next Friday. As for you, do you have anything cool going on? Do you have any gigs to promote?
I'm going to be playing at the Open Ears Festival of Music and Sound about a month from now, June 1st and 2nd. Going to be doing this really cool, I'm going to be leading this really cool outdoor piece for 16 musicians, of which I am one. And we're going to be doing it at the outdoor amphitheater at the Joseph Schneider House in Kitchener. And it's a free event, and you can kind of walk around the space and check out the music as we play it in these different like 4-member ensembles. Playing a graphic score that's going to be projected onto the Joseph Schneider House. So I'm working towards that, and I'm recording my 4th album a couple weeks after that. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll be chatting about that on the show at some point in the future when that music's ready to be talked about. And Meat loves the dog. The dog is getting rave reviews. Better beard than me. I fully agree. That is actually one of the Schnauzer's defining traits is strong beards.
Yep.
Strong beards. We always like to go out on a song. I don't know if we have anything that you like. You know what? I'm sure that you wouldn't mind hearing this one. This is Vision and Sound, an ode to Rob Daniels by T-Bone Erickson. So we'll see you next week, everyone, for the Arkells, or at least I hope to see you next week. And Dr. Catherine, see you live on the stage. Have a great Friday, everyone. Thanks so much. Good night.
Night.